With apologies to Paul McCartney, when I think about this week's Torah portion of Parashat VaYetze, I want to sing, "When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Leah comes to me." Because even though our parasha is so much about Jacob, I really do feel like we can learn just so much from Leah. Leah is a very, very tragic character in our tradition because she was the unwanted wife, and so many times, even as she mothers so many children, it always feels like she never gets to be herself. She never gets to express some real personality. She's just sort of that woman who is there for motherhood. And yet at the same time, Leah is really very much our communal mother. And I believe that the Midrash fills in for us in a few different places a lot of these Leah stories, which are just so interesting. And one of the early Midrashim that we have, early not in terms of only how long it goes back, but rather early in terms of early in our story, it says that Leah's eyes are soft. And there are many questions about this. And a middle-aged Midrash called Tanchuma asked this question, what does it mean that her eyes are soft? And it tells us, as so many Midrashim do, that she cried. And her cry is in fact a praise to Leah, because she understood that she and her sister were to be betrothed to their two first cousins, to Esav and to Jacob. And she asks what Esav does, and she understood that he was an evil man according to the Midrash, and she cried and she prayed that she not have to be married to an evil man because she wanted to be married to a righteous man. And God, of course, answers her prayer. And she doesn't only pray then, she in fact prays again in the most beautiful way. When Leah sees that she is pregnant for the 7th time, and she knows that the handmaids each had 2 sons, and she knew of a prophecy. Leah was a special woman. She knew of the prophecy that there would be 12 tribes, and she knew that the tribes would be descendant from the sons. And so doing math in her head, she said, if I have a 7th son right now, we're told this in the Babylonian Talmud, if I have a 7th son, my sister Rachel will have only 1 son from which to have a tribe. And it can't be that she will be the least of the 4 mothers of the tribes. And she prays to God, and God answers her prayer, and she gives birth to a daughter who does not have a tribe named after her. And I think about the times of trouble that we are in right now, and I see Leah as a beautiful, beautiful example for all of us right now, because she is a woman who suffers deeply, and she knows how to fight out her own suffering, but she does not allow her personal suffering to stop her from seeing the suffering of others. And she looks to her sister, sees her sister suffering, and prays that that suffering should end. We are in a time of crisis in Israel, but in a time of so much giving. And I see Leah as an inspiration for us all, that even as we are suffering, how much Israeli society has come together to see the suffering of others, to see the people in our society who need us, and to come together and to give. And I believe that we can look to our matriarch Leah as the inspiration for all that we can do for others. And finally, Leah's final prayer is by naming her son Yehudah, say, I will give thanks, that we can thank one another in our society for all that we are doing in our times of need. Shabbat Shalom.